My name is Jess Cervellon, and I'm super excited to bring you my new podcast, The Juice with Jess. This podcast is going to be about everything in your customer's journey. We're talking acquisition, awareness, making that purchase, retaining that customer, bringing them back around, and everything in between. This is going to be all about delivering dope brand experiences and talking to some really amazing people who are in the customer experience space, the marketing space, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of The Juice with me, Jess. This week, I am in Scottsdale, Arizona with my homie, Mike Manheimer.
That's right.
CMO of Postscript. I'm super excited about this episode because we are going to nerd out not only about SMS marketing, but about marketing and everything else that comes up.
Who knows what we're going to talk about?
We might talk about Fly by Jing a lot because he's wearing a Fly by Jing shirt.
Yes.
Mike, tell the homies who you are, man.
Yeah, my name is Mike. I'm the CMO of Postscript. Been at Postscript for 3 years. Spent my entire career in B2B software.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I know how to do. Outside of that, I'm totally useless. So I hope that B2B software continues on. Been in a bunch of different settings, done healthcare software, done enterprise software, done prosumer sort of like email productivity stuff. And now I'm in eCommerce, and I can say eCom's the most fun by far.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I think it's an interesting pathway because we actually have a really similar pathway. Like I come from B2B.
Yeah, you came from B2B SaaS too.
Exactly. I came from B2B, healthcare, cybersecurity. Don't ask. That was a really short stint in my life. It was really weird. And travel. It was really fucking weird, you guys. And travel, but I agree with you. E-commerce is really fun. How did you find your way into e-commerce though? Like tell me about the transition into Postscript.
This is a funny one.
I love funny.
When I worked at a B2B software company, I worked in the same building as Colin, who's one of the co-founders of Postscript. We both were in B2B software businesses. And we like met each other like riding the elevators in the building. Like it was kind of like, we just were like, you seem cool, we should hang out sort of thing. Literally like made friends that way. And we would like get coffee and just chat it up. And then eventually kind of like lost touch. I didn't see Colin around. And he shot me a LinkedIn note and was like, hey, we're starting a company. I'm at YC. I'm starting a software company with my brother and a friend. Like, we should talk about it. And if Colin was telling a story, he'll be like, make sure to include that I just totally blew him off and didn't respond to his message, which I'm ashamed of now. But eventually he was like, hey, like, do you want to get coffee or something? Learn about Postscript. And I did. I didn't know anything about e-commerce whatsoever. Yeah. I just knew that like a guy that I was friends with started a new company in the text message space, and started pursuing an opportunity with them and learning it all from scratch. So it was totally relationship based. It wasn't like I had in my head, like I eventually want to be in e-com specifically. Yeah. I wasn't closed off to it, but it was mostly because I knew Colin and he was, doing his own thing. And so eventually joined Postscript after kind of like building the relationship over the course of like a year or two. And the rest is history. I jumped in and, absorbed as much of the space as I possibly could. Just listened to all the podcasts, read all the blogs, just listened to a bunch of customer calls, jumped on a bunch of customer calls. And, that's kind of how I got my foundation. But, I'm a marketer, so marketing's such a big part of e-com.
We love marketing.
Yeah, there's patterns there, right? Yeah. So it wasn't totally foreign to me when I was starting to work with e-commerce merchants.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that in marketing, whether it's B2B, D2C, you're literally marketing to a customer journey. Totally. And it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever, people are going to shoot me for saying this, but it honestly doesn't really matter because your consumer is all your consumer behavior. It's not necessarily all the same, but you're touching every touch point of that consumer's behavior, right? Yep. And it's just different. It's just different ways of marketing to it. And And again, this is why like customer experience, brand experience isn't just about supporting your customer. It's actually your touch points of your customer and understanding behavior. So from a B2B perspective, right, you're like, okay, well, I want to sell you this software. I have to build this relationship with you. I have to show you the use case. I have to sling it to you in like a fun way. And the same thing applies to e-com, right?
Yeah.
You want to buy the sauce. We're stuck on sauce. He's wearing a Fly by Jing shirt. So we're really stuck on this sauce right now. But like Fly by Jing, as an example, as an e-commerce company, I'm buying my hot sauce, right? My chili oil sauce, but I'm buying that sauce because it's being slinged to me in a really dope brand experience, right?
Yeah. Ultimately, I think like if you really boil it down, like we're all in the business of getting people to want to have a relationship with our brands that we represent.
Yeah.
Everything we do is either convincing them that they should or reconfirming their decision on why they have a relationship at the same time. Like, it's like you're just using different tactics and whatnot, but ultimately you're just trying to like drive engagement with what you're doing and, you know, building and reaffirming the relationship along the way. It's not rocket science, right? Like, I think people are always like, oh, like, how'd you make the transition from selling enterprise software or healthcare software, whatever? It's like, look, this is all people who have problems. I think the product that I sell helps them solve their problem.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to talk to them about that.
Yeah.
That's like the basis for all of this. Yeah.
Anything that you do. I mean, it's sales, marketing.
Yeah.
Even fucking supply chain, man.
Yeah.
Like, you are building a product to sell to the person, and it's like, which touch point are you on?
Yeah.
For that.
100%. I think people get, you know, I'm not one of those people who wants to make everything super complicated. I think like ultimately it's people selling to other people, building good relationships. That's what is the foundation of everything, whether you're trying to build a relationship with the consumer or I'm trying to build a relationship with a merchant. It's all, the foundations are the same.
Yeah. Well, man, there's 3 different questions that are 3 different directions. So I want to start in this one though. I actually think Postscript does a really good job at like relationship building with the merchant. I mean, granted, like we're here in this room today because we've become homies, because I've become homies of Postscript through my work at Feastables and then all my work in clients, right? But I really think that like Postscript has a really like great relationship building tactic from like, whether that's marketing, customer success, sales, like every touch point that you guys have within the company is all about making it easy for the merchant to slang SMS marketing, making it like more digestible. Like, I think people are really afraid of SMS marketing, right? Well, we could backtrack to other episodes where like people will like come for my throat if I say SMS is my favorite.
Hey, it works. Hey, people, it works.
Doug, it works, right? But we'll go back there. But that's one comment that I want to say is like, you know, you guys have you do a really good job with building relationships with merchants. Setting out on building Postscript, was that in the intention?
Postscript came from Y Combinator. Paul Graham was the founder of Y Combinator, and he has this saying that's baked into the advice he gives to companies, which is in the early days, he says, do things that don't scale, like scale the unscalable thing. And because of that, like the first 1,000 accounts on Postscript got sold by Alex Beller personally.
Shout out to Beller, man.
The first 10,000 tickets that came in through, you know, our intercom chat widget would go to the co-founders' cell phones 24 hours a day. And most people probably don't know this, but if you were like an early Postscript customer and you were getting help from our like chat support, that was like Adam, our CEO, who was like, let me go check, like literally in the code base. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, but that's not a scalable process.
Right.
And for us, I think we think like, that's kind of the point. We're willing to do things that other people won't do because it doesn't like match the SOP or, well, that's going to be really difficult to like maintain the quality over a long period of time. So we shouldn't even do that stuff. We think differently. We try to say, how can we add value to merchants at every possible turn and do the right thing for them, regardless of if it's hard. And I think that's baked into the culture of the company. How
many employees are you now?
A little over 250, maybe like 275 now.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's been,
dang, you're like big dog now.
Yeah.
Big CMO.
It's been fun. It's been fun. I think, I think this reflects poorly on me actually, which is people think Postscript's a lot smaller than we really are.
Yeah.
But yeah, the company is,
I've watched it scale, so I don't think so, but
we're over 250 people. We have 13,000 customers on Shopify now.
Wow.
We work with people who are just getting started doing their first sales all the way to 9-figure brands on Shopify, like Dr. Squatch. Scott was on the last episode or on the podcast before. Ruggable, Ridge, True Classic, etc. So we really serve the entire scope of the Shopify community. Yeah. And it's been a really, really fun ride. Our main objective, like the reason we wake up every day and go to work, is because we're trying to help merchants make as much money as they can with SMS. Like that's all we think about. And I think also that focus helps us build really strong relationships with our customers too. It's like, we're not trying to upsell them all of our other widgets or like bolting on different products or, trying to serve ourselves. Really what we're trying to do is to figure out how to make their results with SMS go like up and to the right constantly. Yeah. And I think merchants can feel that when they're in a relationship with Postscript.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, granted, this is like the gassing up Postscript episode. I'm not going to lie, right?
Yeah.
But like,
what's wrong with everyone loves that.
I know. But like, I mean, truly, like I've been a client of Postscript. Like I said, like we have a friendship. Yeah. Like I'm friends with all of y'all because of the relationships we've built. My old CSM, shout out to Joe Vella. Yeah. Sweet guy. No longer at Postscript, but he's doing some baddie things. Yeah. And then also Paul. Yeah. Shelfton.
Yes. Right? Paul rocks.
Yeah. Paul's awesome. He's my new Joe. Right? Yeah. But my point is of bringing this up, right, is that, again, like I think Postscript does a really good job of building relationships, but also I think why I wanted you on the podcast is because from an experience point of view, from a B2B point of view, is I see this constantly in B2B companies, right? No matter what we're talking about, SMS marketing, I don't care if it's an email tool, whatever it is, right? What I see across the line is people will bring people into the funnel. They'll become a customer. You'll get a CSM. But then what happens is that CSM is more about the relationship building and giving you the quarterly reviews, right? But not actually being side by side with you on a strategic level. And I think that that's like really what Postscript does very well in the relationship building, especially in like that customer success side of experience, is like becoming very strategic thinkers with the merchants as well, right? Yep. So honestly, I learned a lot about SMS marketing from from implementing the SMS marketing program with Postscript, because of the tactics that you guys have used with your CSMs, right? Like Joe taught me about like segmenting or like what to do in campaigns, right? Yep. Like they're working alongside you. So like, that's my point. I know this is like a little gassing up, but the point, the landing the plane is that the customer success side of a B2B company or even a D2C is all about relationship building, but it's also about how do you build that loyalty?
Yeah. We don't ever lose sight of the fact that like, it's not about us. It's about what our customers want to achieve. Yeah. And SMS is just one of a number of tools they have in their toolkit to be able to achieve the outcomes that they're searching for. And we make a point of trying not to lose sight of that ever. Yeah. Because like you said, if we're just doing like our QBRs and we're like, here's your usage, we were like, what am I looking at? Why does this matter to me? Yeah. We want to have a discussion that's like, oh, you have these drops coming up. Like you're doing these new releases, this new product's coming out. You're trying to drive subscription from X to Y. We want to know that. So then we could say, how can SMS help you do that thing? Right. That reframing changes the nature of the discussion. Yeah. Because people don't feel like we're just trying to get them to do what we want. We get to talk to them about how we can be additive to their strategy and help them achieve the thing that they've signed up to do. Like ultimately, like the best sign of success for us is like if someone buys Postscript, implements it, and then it goes so good that they like get promoted Like that's like the stuff we are like, we want to deliver a level of service and strategy that has those types of results.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that shows up in the way that people perceive their relationship with us. You know, everyone throws around like, I don't want just a vendor, I want a partner, right? Everyone says that.
Yeah, everybody.
Everyone says that. But I think we do our best to try to deliver that as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, I think you do a good job at it. Switching gears completely from like talking about Postscript, I actually want to like talk to you about marketing specifically.
Sure.
I actually want to get your hot take on what do you think about content marketing and B2B?
The way I think about content marketing in B2B is, well, one, I think go ahead.
The reason I'm asking you this is because I actually think like companies like Postscript do a really good job at like putting out like webinars and content and like really quality, not just being like, here's my email sequence. You know?
I think, so like the nature of content marketing in B2B, like go way back to like the first ever HubSpot model, which is like make yourself useful. I think that principle still applies. I think that where brands get messed up with content marketing is they're like trying to be like, how many leads came from this blog post?
Yeah.
That is the wrong way to think about it. That's not going to result in you creating the best content you could create that actually helps the customer.
Yeah.
The way I talk to the team about it is, I'm probably stealing this from someone, but I've like always heard this metaphor of like, there's fuel functions, there's engine functions. Engines like the distribution, paid ads, channels. And then the fuel is like what goes into the channels. And you have to have it's like a symbiotic relationship, right? Like you're not going to have high performing ads. You're not going to scale paid social if the thing that you're putting in there isn't useful and entertaining.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If you make really great content, but you don't distribute it, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
And so I think like figuring out how those things play together is really important. And a lot of people kill their content because they're just focused on the distribution part and they can't figure out why it works. Then they blame the content and they like tear down their teams.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really important that you like listen to customers, figure out what their problem set is, use your content to solve those problems, and then put that into the distribution channels, like kind of separately.
Yeah.
If you like, again, everyone's trying to figure out how to like put a dollar amount on every single thing that they did
all the time.
And that just kills the creativity. It kills the nature of good content, which is going back to the relationships thing. We're trying to solve people's problems here. The thing that we write about or do a webinar about or whatever should actually be a customer problem that we hear.
Yeah.
And that's where I think content teams get kind of messed up. We always say the answer to the marketing problems are like in the field, meaning like they're in the customer's minds. They're in the things that customers say.
Yeah.
Like, so when people are like, what should be the topic of the webinar? What should be the blog post that we're going to write next? You know, what should go into this like landing page that we're going to pump out on social? The answers to what should be in those things, what should be created is like in Gong, in your customer support responses.
Feedback loops, dog.
It's on the sales calls. You hear what people are having trouble with, what they want to learn about. And then if you just use that as your compass to go create that stuff, then content will work phenomenally well. If you're just like trying to optimize the words on a blog post for, you know, an SEO ranking or gating every little bit of it to try to get as many emails as you can, that's the only thing that you judge the success of the content on, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be like, this is totally watered down, like corporate bullshit.
Yeah.
So I think that the more measurement that you apply to B2B content, the worse the B2B content is.
Absolutely. What I think is really interesting coming from that merchant perspective, working in the creator economy, right?
Yeah.
It's very focused on like social, but like really good content creation, not just in like videos and TikToks and all this other stuff, right? But also in emails and SMS, right?
Yeah.
And then when I flip that and look at it on the B2B side, I think it's really fucking boring.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the things that I'm seeing in the space, I will say that like there are exceptions to that rule. Like obviously I brought it up because I think you guys do content very well. You actually like invest in content, but I've also seen some other like B2B companies doing it well as well. But I think that like, I don't think it's just like basing it off of the metrics that you're getting. Like, I think you need to look at content marketing as a brand awareness play.
Yeah. I think one of the major differences between e-com and B2B is B2B doesn't traditionally have a very strong creative focus.
Right.
You know, so like so much of the conversation in direct to consumer is about performance creative and like the stuff that drives direct sales and its relationship to the creative itself is like inextricable. Like it's all about like, what's the hooks? What are we testing? It's all creative concepts. In B2B, that's just like not the heritage of it. Like, like it traditionally, you didn't have to have strong creative to break through the noise in B2B. You know, like if you think back, like the first B2B, really successful B2B software companies were like Microsoft, right? You know, it's like Microsoft up until very recently didn't have any real focus on creative as an example. So like, it's just not the main, it hasn't been a necessity for a lot of B2B companies. Now I think that's changing. Yeah. Right. Like TikTok and all of the different channels that are commanding people's attention are changing people's preferences. Everything's getting noisier. And I think that brands have an opportunity to stand out on creative angles, entertainment, but it's a really high bar for people to jump over because, you know, like at Postscript, we do our best. We have a studios team, which is our creative team. Shout out Postscript Studios. They rock. But that team is 3 people. Yeah. They had to do like all the creative for the entire company. Yeah. And that would be considered for our size, like a big investment. Right. Whereas like, you know, a direct to consumer company has like people in-house, probably multiple agencies, like the team of people who are working on creative stuff is huge. Yeah. But, you know, Postscript is a, you know, 275 person company. Our content team is 2 folks, and then our studios and design team is 3. Yeah. And that's it. It's so, and it's like it's just not been an area of major investment, I don't think, for B2B companies. But, you know, we hope that we can use it as a advantage to stand out. I think it's a leverage. I think it's a leverage for like, and not just Postscript, like any B2B company to flip the script and not be so boring, right? I think you're absolutely right. Like the demands of a consumer have changed so much in like recent years, especially with like TikTok coming on and Instagram Reels and YouTube and all these places, right? Like, and I know we look at these, you traditionally look at those channels as like, okay, that's very e-commerce heavy, or that's very, you know, I'm selling a product. Yeah. But I think that it's also changing the psychology of a consumer though, right? Yeah. So, and I think you can still apply those principles into a B2B company because you're looking at a consumer's behavior, and by doing something that's maybe like aesthetically pleasing, or, you know, like a fun like email sequence that isn't just like white screen and some words, right? Maybe adding a GIF to it. I don't know what it is, right? Or investing in like, you host an event and you making a short out of it. Like that is it's a different lever to pull to make you stand out and to create brand awareness from a B2B perspective. Hey friends, you know how much from this episode alone that I love SMS marketing. Get ready for your minds to be blown because Postscript AI just dropped a game changer for SMS marketing. First up, say goodbye to boring old A/B testing. They have just introduced infinity testing. This isn't just an AI, it's like having a marketing genius on speed dial. Infinity testing uses predictive analytics and generative AI to whip up
up thousands of on-brand message variants that evolve over time. And then, do you ever wish your AI could talk just like you? Enter their brand center. Train the AI on your unique brand voice and review AI-generated messages to make sure they're totally on point. ChatGPT, it's got nothing on this. So don't miss out. Learn more about these epic features and more at the link in the description in the show notes. Stay ahead, stay awesome with Postscript AI. Happy SMS marketing.
Even in B2B, something as simple as just speaking plainly is differentiating. Because, everyone goes to the B2B websites and they're like, what does this brand do? And it's like, we optimize the life cycle generative AI journeys for, it's like, what do you really do?
Yeah. Really, nobody knows.
Yeah. Like it stood out for us. So when we rebranded a couple of years ago, the headline on our website just said, make more sales.
Yeah.
And we were like, people were like, wow, that's bold. And I'm like, why is that outside of the norm? Like literally what we do is we help people make more sales with text messaging.
Yeah.
That's it. Why is it novel for a B2B company to like say that in their H1? But like, that's how far behind
I know
B2B companies are in the way that they communicate with their customers and with the market. And it doesn't really make any sense. It's just like people are stuck in their ways. And, we try to do the best job we can. We're not perfect at it.
So stuck in that.
But like, so I wish that if people took the time to sit down and like, if you write a landing page, a B2B landing page, sit down, read it out loud. Mm-hmm. Would you ever say that? Would you ever talk like that? When you're at a conference, we're at Shop Talk, right? People are asking me about Postscript all the time. I don't say B2B mumbo jumbo to them. I tell them plainly the truth.
Yeah.
And people just, for whatever reason in B2B, like they have to try to make it like so formal and academic. And it's like, that doesn't drive engagement with people because that's just not how we talk.
There's so many competitors just in the SMS space, right? Mm-hmm. But think about it, like, don't even think about the SMS space. Think about subscription space. Subscription space is
super
like,
competitive.
Holy moly, right?
Very crowded.
So it's like, and I'm not saying in like just marketing per se, you have to do things differently, but I do think you like, in order to gain brand awareness and to like have a better competitive advantage, like you should probably not say the same mumbo jumbo that like your competitor is saying. What's your differentiator?
100%. And like this goes for any marketing, right? Like I always tell my team this, like I would rather be different than just like in the field, right? Like, right. And I think this goes for almost all marketing. Like it's better to have, if you push marketing out, and somebody thinks it's a 10 out of 10 and another person thinks it's a 0 out of 10, I'd rather have that as opposed to two people saying it's a 5.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to find people who vibe with us, who want to do business with us. We're trying to explain why we're a good choice. That doesn't mean we're going to be right for everyone.
Yeah.
So the marketing's like a filter. You want to say like, authentically, this is who we are.
Right.
And if you vibe with what you're seeing, then like, this is probably a really good partnership.
Yeah.
But I think because B2B companies are trying to act like they're the right solution for everyone, they don't want to show their true colors because they don't want to make somebody feel like maybe this isn't the right choice. That results in very watered down marketing because there's no opinion there. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's exactly the wrong way to approach it. You should take a very strong opinion, state very clearly to the market who you are.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with some people are going to be like, that's not for me.
Right.
And then people who vibe with it are going to say, I want to do business with this company. And that's, I think, again, going back to the relationships thing, that's the way to build like real alignment in your relationships with your customers, as opposed to just, doing the generic thing that's not going to make anybody mad, but no one's going to love it.
Yeah. But again, it goes, so not even just going back to relationship building, but it also goes back to like understanding your audience, understanding like who that customer is, right? But also like even a little bit of like listening to feedback too.
Totally.
And like utilizing that to market your competitive advantage too.
Yep.
Like listen to your fucking customers.
Yeah. Like B2B companies, I noticed a trend of people going in like their Facebook comments in direct to consumer and using that for ad concepts. It's really smart, right? Like why people love it, why people don't love it. And B2B companies should take a page out of that, you know, like you get reviews online, you get all the tickets in your ticketing software, you get love and hate from your customers. Like
so much. Yeah.
You can learn everything you need to know about like who's a good fit for you, how you should be changing in the market, how your customers want you to engage with them by looking at that stuff.
Yeah.
But it just goes overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I think is like really interesting, this just popped into my head, is that every company creates its own consumer behavior. If you're a boring company, like that sounds so harsh. I'm not trying to be harsh, but like
no, there's a lot of boring companies out there.
If you're like the Microsoft, right? Very like I'm corporate, right? You are going to get very I'm corporate people, right? Where if you're like, you know, the Postscript that's like, I'm authentically us, right? Yeah. You're going to get very authentic partnerships out of it. Yeah, right?
Totally.
I just think it's really interesting. It's like, well, it's not like rocket science. It's just you're attracting the type of customers you want. So if you want, going back to marketing, if you want somebody who's different, right? You want to like gain the Dr. Squatch or, you know, the True Classic, right? You have to walk a different line. Yeah. In your marketing campaigns. Totally. You know?
Yeah. And also to create some excitement too.
Ugh, please bring the excitement.
Yeah. It's like,
so
it's all so boring. It's all watered down. It's like you really want someone to get like excited about taking like a demo with you, like your boring like software company. Like, no, you want people to be like, I need to know what's going on with Postscript and their clients. And they have to get excited about that. And that's like, telling more customer stories and being entertaining and engaging with what we're doing. So I just think like take some risks. People play it way too safe.
I know.
They're afraid. And I always tell my team this too. When you're taking a risk, people are always like, well, what's going to happen? We're going to piss somebody off or like someone's not going to like this. Actually, what mostly happens is that no one sees it.
Yeah.
So while marketers are all like wrapped around the axle, like what's the downside impact of us doing this particular thing? I'm like, no one's engaging with the stuff anyway. Like you send an email that you're like taking a big risk on. It's more likely that people aren't even going to read it than that they're going to read it and then react to it and have some crazy emotional reaction. Yeah. It's like, you just got to put stuff out there.
Just put it out there.
And people are always, it's way less serious than people make it out to be.
But I think that's because we're always, as marketers, we're always in our fucking heads.
I know. Yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, listen, let's even just take it one step further. Like, I went to art school, right? Yeah. I did not want to continue being an artist because I thought everything I did sucked, right?
Sure.
So apply that to the same thing of like, I'm writing like an email campaign. Like it literally took me 2 hours to write an email campaign today about reminding somebody about an event that I'm hosting next week because I just didn't love the copy. Yeah. So it's like, as marketers being artists, right? Yep. We're our own worst enemy, but sometimes you just got to throw some things out there, see what comes back, and pivot your plans.
Yeah, there is something unique about like marketing's about ideas.
Right.
So when someone attacks your marketing, it feels like they're attacking your personal ideas.
Yeah.
And that can be really, really tough, you know? And I think it's about reps, like talking about shipping stuff and just putting stuff out there and experimenting and treating everything that way helps, at least for me, it helps my mind like be like, I'm in the arena trying things. I'm not, this isn't like about me. It's not personal.
Yeah.
I'm trying a bunch of different stuff and seeing what works. And that helps me kind of like get out of my head. But yeah, it's hard. Like, when people are criticizing the stuff that you're putting out, it is hard not to feel like they're saying I don't like this marketing and you're bad. Like, you know, like it's easy to get that going in your head and feeling like you're getting it scrutinized and all of that. But I feel like you just got to get the reps in, just clicking send, putting stuff out.
Segment.
Yeah. And
do the things, man.
Yeah. Try stuff. And, that'll take like the sting out of it a little bit. I also think like for anyone who's listening to this, like nobody cares really, you know, like it's like, it's not that consequential.
Yeah.
And this is something I take from I listen to a lot of like the stoic stuff, Ryan Holiday and the Daily Stoic and all of that is just like in my podcast rotation. But he always reminds people that no one's thinking about you. They're too busy thinking about themselves.
Absolutely.
And
dude, absolutely.
Yeah. And so
they're
like
all selfish.
Yeah. When you really think about like, oh my God, what are people going to say about this? Like, they don't care about you.
Yeah.
They're too busy thinking about their own stuff and like what's going on in their personal life and what business priorities they have. And so when you take the pressure down a little bit by realizing that, then you can get a lot more comfortable just being like, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
People are going to vibe with it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same thing applies to like copywriting too.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to get a little weird, right? Yeah. Wait, okay. Completely switching gears because like we are coming up on time, but I want to hear in your words, what are your hot takes? Obviously, you are the CMO of an SMS marketing company.
Yes.
But I want to hear in your words, like why you love SMS marketing. What problem like are you trying to solve?
Yeah. So first off, SMS works.
Yeah.
The data supports it.
Weird.
It's irrefutable.
Yeah. It's expensive though.
It does cost money.
Yeah.
So you have to be.
It does cost money.
Yeah. You have to be a little bit more thoughtful about just sending that additional text. Where with email, you can kind of just like queue it up and send out whatever you want.
Yeah.
So it works. Drives 25 to 50x ROI for brands at all sorts of scales. Yeah. So that's one reason I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to help merchants make a bunch of money and scale their businesses. So if we could play a part in that, that's great. I also think it's irrefutable that everyone's face is buried in their phone, right? Like everyone's on their phone. And that is where future engagement with consumers is going to happen. I'm not saying there's no room for email. Email is important, but like, I think at best, email is going to stay at the engagement level that it's currently at. At worst, it'll go down.
Yeah.
And when marketers are constantly losing owned channels, the connection, the digital connection, the reachability of the people you're trying to market to is under attack. Some of it warranted because of privacy restrictions, but in general, we're losing the ability to market directly to the people that we want to. SMS is a newer direct channel that you get to own as a marketer. And so I think in the future, and we're starting to see this a little bit, the opt-in SMS list that brands have is like an asset to their business. It's like gold. It's like the highest engagement channel that you can go market to your most engaged fans at any time you want. And yes, it costs money, but it's not, you don't have to go reacquire them with meta ads. You don't have to, go on a marketplace and pay money and hope that they come through a sale on one way or the other. It's like, I can go queue up. I want to send a text to Jess and I can send it. Yeah. And I know you're going to get it. Yeah. And I know if you like my brand, it's very likely that you're going to engage with it. It's very unique in that way. The directness, the intimacy of the channel, I think creates tons of opportunity for really interesting marketing things to happen over text. Yeah. So like the other thing we talk about is like, it's not like email. Like everyone tries to like make them the same. They're like, okay, I built my email and my ESP and now I'm just going to like port that over to text and send a version of that. Yeah. That's the wrong way to approach the channel. Like SMS is two-way by nature. That's what makes it special. Right. And like leaning into interesting use cases keeps people engaged over the long term. Yeah. So I think some people don't invest in that type of use case because they're taking, I think, too short term of a view. But when you think about keeping someone engaged in a text conversation with your brand over a very, very long period of time, you have to do some interesting stuff there. Lean into the things about SMS that are interesting. Yeah. It's two-way, it's immediate, and it's in the pocket of the person that you're trying to reach. Yeah. If you really like start to think from first principles about what can be done with the customer, with the channel that has those capabilities, SMS is completely unique. Yeah. And I think some people are leaning into it that way and are having great success. Yeah. Luckily for everyone else who's not doing that, SMS works anyway, like welcome series, automation, campaigns, that all still works.
Yeah.
But the people who are doing great at it are leaning into conversational in a way that is, in my opinion, super exciting. And I think is the next generation of great customer engagement. So we're just getting started on SMS.
I agree with you. I think it is just getting started. And I think it's like going to be an interesting shift that you'll see in the next like 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
I mean, every year it gets like different, but going back to the content play too, it's like you can do something. I've seen some brands do some really fun stuff with their content, right? Like Pop Light is one. I don't know if they're on Postscript, but Taste Salute is another one where it's like very content heavy types of brands and like adding like a fun moving GIF into it, right? And I think it could be like a small content play, but going back to the conversational piece too, I think it's a really like We're Not Really Strangers. I mean, I'm always a huge fan of We're Not Really Strangers, but I think they do they've always done something really fun. They were the original ones that did this, creating the two-way conversations of like, sending like these emotional texts, like don't text your ex-boyfriend back, right? That's gonna like spark something in a customer, right? And I'm more likely to look at that like in the palm of my hand than I am in like an email chain.
This for anyone who's thinking about doing SMS campaigns, I'll try to like reframe it for you, and you should do this as an experiment. The next time you're gonna do an SMS, try to optimize for replies instead of clicks. See what happens. One, it'll completely change your approach to what you're doing, and you'll see tons and tons of engagement come back. We've run the numbers on this, and it makes sense when you think about it, right? But people who respond to a text from a brand spend more than 2x over their lifetime with the brand than people who don't.
So interesting.
And so it makes sense though. It's like the relationship is deeper. They're more, it's a high bar to get someone to respond. Like if I'm texting back with Fly by Jing, I'm texting.
Tell me about my sauce.
I'm texting back with the sauce company. Like to do that just is a whole different relationship with the brand. And if you try to create campaigns that are optimized for replies and you start to get the signal from your audience when they start actually doing it, one, you'll learn a lot. Two, those people have a much deeper relationship with the channel and with your brand from there on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and sorry, audience, I continuously talk about Feastables, but it's just, it was a very big portion of my life.
Great brand, great Postscript customer.
So text us, we text back, 69420.
That's right.
Like we built that, right? Like we built that, and we built a lot of like, there's so many different ways, and like, I won't go into all of them, but there's so many different ways to create those two-way conversations. Like, and you don't even have to just equip a team to do it, right? You can create flows with it, right?
Totally.
Whether it's Postscript or not, like you can do this in like many different tools, right?
You can collect zero-party data with the conversations. So you start to build profiles that you can use for segmentation in the future. Like this stuff isn't just vanity. Like I want to have a conversation with my customers. This one, it drives business outcomes. Two, it can help you enrich the data you have on your customers. The more you know about your customer, the more likely you are to be able to build marketing that resonates with them and drives more sales. So like getting back to like Postscript's mission is like, we don't do this just for the fun of it. We do this stuff because it makes people more money. So like, surprise, doing the harder, more complicated, more advanced marketing techniques actually drive more revenue, right? Like that turns out that's true. And we're trying to help more people do that over SMS with our software. And so there is a real financial incentive to lean into what makes SMS special.
I mean, I'll leave everybody on this note about it. I'm a huge fan of SMS marketing, not just from a marketing perspective of like, I'm slanging you some underwear or a candle or whatever it is, or a chocolate bar. I'm a huge fan of SMS marketing because of the two-way conversations and the brand loyalty build of it. It is a dope customer experience. Like seriously, it is a very, like we're all out here on these e-commerce brands trying to like really get you loyal to the brand, but it is a way to like build those two-way conversations really can build a really sick brand experience.
Yep.
And like whichever way you do it, like in my case at Feastables, I put bots into it, right? Or you do flows, or you put humans behind it. Whatever it is, two-way conversations and like incentivizing for that reply and creating that conversation is going to be like a doper experience than just be like, here's your BOGO deal today.
Yeah. And I mean, people are afraid of text, or they'll be like, oh, I don't like getting text from brands. And it's like, no shit. You're probably just getting a 1-line coupon code every single day, just like blasted at you all day long. Like, that's not interesting.
No.
Why would somebody want to get that?
Right.
Like, that's just not that's not leveraging the channel, the immediacy of it, the conversational nature of it in a way that's creating surprise and delight with the people on the other end.
Surprise and delight.
Yeah. I mean, like these are opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, I don't know why this isn't working better. I'm just like blasting out a coupon code every day. I'm like, well, that's why. Like, getting back to marketers making everything all convoluted, just like take a step back. Would you want to get this text?
No.
Yeah. So like try writing a text that is expressive of your brand voice, that promotes a product that you have, that you would actually like to receive as a consumer, and start from that.
Yeah.
But everyone makes everything more complicated than it needs to be.
So I'm getting married this year, and one of the things that I'm going to do is actually SMS campaigns to tell my guests where we're going, what we're doing.
So smart.
As a marketer, I have to market to them in SMS. It's
100%.
so on brand for me.
Yeah, you're going to have people like text in the photos.
Dog. Does Postscript want to build this for me?
Yeah, let's do it on Postscript.
I'm down. I am so down. Anyway, on that note, Mike, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, postscript.io is where you can find all the Postscript products. I'm on Twitter at Mike Manheimer. DMs are open. I'd love to talk anything marketing, anything SMS, anytime. So, and I'm out here in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you ever want to, link up, chat marketing stuff, hit me up.
Also plug your podcast.
Oh yeah, I have a podcast now, which is uncomfortable for me, but yes, I do. It's called Back Channel. You can find it everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Sick. Well, thanks for coming on, man, and I really appreciate you. And thank you for tuning in to another week of The Juice with me, and I'll see you next Thursday. Hey, wow, you made it to the end of the episode. That means that you like me and I like you, which also means you should subscribe to this show.